Hey Nick, we need a tagline for the podcast.
No.
Real life opinions. Movie reviews told by fans and not critics.
It's Sunday, Sunday, Sunday! Super Bowl Sunday out here at the, I wanted to call you the Retro for some reason.
The boiler room of the database cameras.
The boiler room.
I think it's a boiler room.
It's definitely a room as well.
Yeah.
You know?
That's 2 for 2.
Yeah.
All right, don't we got a special guest today?
We've got our special guest, Danielle Shoot.
Cute.
Shoot?
I told you that.
Do you think I remember things? Is it?
He doesn't remember anything. The sound?
Yeah.
It's phonetic.
Yeah. Shoot.
To the toot.
Yes.
We're borrowing you from our friends on a fellow podcast.
Yes. I usually do a podcast with Raging Imagination, but
But now she's joined the better group for the night, so.
Wait, let's not make it a competition. Let's not make it a...
it's a completely different topic, so it can't really compare.
So tonight on the Super Bowl Sunday, we're having an all-out battle of the decades of the movies. See, she gets it. The rest of you guys aren't laughing. She gets it.
I don't get it.
My jokes will wear out really quick on you, Danielle. Don't worry.
Oh, Jeff, I think you're in for a surprise.
This is why we're not laughing, is because this is normal. For sure.
Oh. So Danny in the red corner. Wait, what is it? What's the thing for football? And a red? Is there a red corner? In football?
No, that's
No,
not
that's
boxing.
boxing.
That's boxing.
That's boxing.
Okay.
That's
We're gonna call you from. Help me out here. What's the division of football? I don't know my divisions of footballs.
AFC, East, West, North.
Okay, so you give me AFC East.
Oh.
Yeah. Is that bad? I don't know.
Go
if
Jets.
I'm a Patriots fan.
Oh,
Yeah.
freaking hell.
Which one's the Pats from?
They're in, what are they in? Are they in the East? AFC East?
From the AFC East.
You guys have completely lost me.
They might be AFC North, but
This joke is getting really long in the tooth. Anyway,
You can carry on.
Danny, what decade are you representing today?
The 90s.
what are we should tell what we're talking about.
Well, I was trying to get there.
You staff with decade.
Yeah. People are like, what does it matter what decade?
I was like, I said the decades are fighting it out.
Yeah, the Battle of the Decades.
Yeah, I said that.
I don't think you did.
I don't think you did.
It's the Battle of the Decades. Danielle Chute is here as a guest speaker. Danny is doing the 90s, and that's all I got so far.
She's really good.
The rest of us
I'm sorry, I'm not listening. What's going on?
This is going to be a long battle.
Okay.
Laura in the AFC.
Who are you representing?
Oh, sorry, I was talking over you because I'm representing the 2000s. Woo, 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 woo.
Or who are you representing?
80s!
Who are you
Overrated.
representing?
I'm representing the 70s.
Excellent.
I know, look at her.
Yep. That's okay.
I'm like the oldest person here, and yet I'm making these jokes. Actually, no, I remember how old you were.
If you want to
You're
shut
younger
up,
than
I'll
Jeff,
tell you.
right? Yeah. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
You know, you just walk up to him and you go, take a chia pet.
Oh my God, you have to feel the top of Corey's head.
That's so wrong.
I feel like that's pushing a boundary.
I have no bubble, it's fine.
It's so soft.
I have a baby who has a very soft head, and I will just go pet my baby.
I'm hurt.
When she puts it that way, that we're petting you, does that mean we have to give you treats? Call you a good boy?
Who's a good boy? Yes, you are. Oh, what the hell?
So we're battling out in 5 different categories, everybody? What are those categories, Danielle?
I have written actors and actresses, or are they one category?
One category.
Actors and actresses is one category. Soundtrack, special effects, and overall.
No, movies themselves.
Oh, movies themselves. Sorry, I missed that one. Movies themselves, and then overall.
Yep.
And I will score them on a range of 1 to 5. 5 being super fantastic, and 1 being meh.
You're not gonna crush our feelings here, are you, Danielle?
I guess you'll find out, Jeff.
You're so mean and like brutal and like totally not the kindest person in this room at all.
And it's so awesome.
Don't worry.
I think that was sarcasm.
Our feelings don't
It's
get
hard to
hurt.
tell with me. It's hard to tell with me.
We have to move this damn thing.
Well, honestly,
You are like the nicest
Take it
person in
out.
this room. No offense to everybody else. Like the kindest,
Are you
sweetest
having
person.
problems over there, Laura?
Yes!
Mike's hand's stuck. And she can't move it.
Oh, how did you mess that up exactly?
Corey touched me.
Corey.
Escalating quickly.
About the top of my head.
While we're fixing these technical difficulties, Danielle, in case you don't know, the podcast should be called Technical Difficulties because, like,
There's always something.
it's always
I
something.
feel that. I feel that. Technical difficulties are just sometimes part of podcasts.
Every Sunday?
That's not true. It used to happen Mondays.
Every Monday? Then I think it's time to figure out what the problem is.
Oh, they've been trying to. The problem is they keep touching stuff.
It's probably us. We're the problem.
I have no skills for this stuff. I just go along.
You're the one that does the most work.
Oh, yeah.
You're the one that like figures out all the tech stuff. That's the problem. We need a real tech guy.
That's. How much do you think we can pay Simon to come here? And by pay, I mean not at all.
Not enough.
Yeah.
Simon, would you like a free DVD?
Pizza and beer.
Wait, we have beer?
I was actually going to buy some tonight. I forgot.
Oh, so,
Yeah.
so to get this rolling, Danielle, you were going to randomly pick who goes first. Let's start with actors and actresses. Do you have your spinning roll?
I have my spinny thing.
Yeah. Round and round the wheel goes.
So we'll start off with actors and actresses.
Yep.
See? Of the 2000s.
Oh, 2000s first.
Worst gets to go first, eh?
Oh, hey.
And it rhymes. So don't blame yourself.
I thought we were supposed to wait on the jabs.
Yeah, you have to
But
wait.
you haven't started the timer for him to be like, this is why.
So it's like you can attack the wrestler before the bell rings. It's not disqualification.
Do we need to give Danielle a little bell? Be like, ding, 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 and the match begins?
I already told you she needs a squirt gun. This is going to get
Well,
nasty.
you didn't tell me that I needed to bring a squirt gun because I have lots of them.
We
I
should
also have Nerf guns.
we should have prepared you.
You.
Oh, your guns would have been awesome.
Danny, the last time I had guns with you did not go well.
So you have 2 minutes.
I got 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
Are you gonna let me know when it starts?
I will.
Did you already start it?
No, I did not. That would be unfair. It starts now.
So I'm gonna start off with the actresses from the 2000s. For me personally, not to be like right to the sexist bubble, but like that is the most attractive set of women that have ever been on film. Like Jessica Alba, Jennifer Lopez, Jessica Biel, Scarlett Johansson, Drew Barrymore was the best looking. But this was also the phase in which the female action star began, like Angelina Jolie, Uma Thurman. So this is when you could finally start with the female lead and carry a movie. You're not allowed to start your
Just ignore us.
yeah.
Continue.
Yeah. Big movies like Serenity and Kill Bill proved that the female actress could carry an action film at this time. And for the men there, we finally got away from the tired old slow action star of the 80s, like Schwarzenegger. Gets like, oh my God, the guy can barely act. And we finally got new fresh acts like The Rock or Vin Diesel, right? They brought new life into the action era. Then we get like brilliant turns from like Liam Neeson and Matt Damon in movies like Taken and The Bourne Supremacy. It gets some awesome stuff. There's some highlights
30 seconds.
of stuff like Russell Crowe in Gladiator, some just outstanding performance. But like the action category in the 2000s for what the actresses and the actors brought was new level. Like you finally got some serious actors doing some serious stuff in that realm. It was amazing. My time is up.
There you go. 3. Now it is.
Okay.
Now we're allowed to say something?
Now you're
Hey, what the fuck?
Like, did you
say The Rock in there?
He did.
Yeah, you look at The Rock and you look at Arnold Schwarzenegger, because The Rock basically replaced Schwarzenegger. 10 times the charisma and a better actor. Do what you will, say what you will about The Rock nowadays. The Rock in 2000 was in such brave roles like Be Cool and Be Cool.
That's your go-to?
And The Rundown and like
Okay, the rundown.
Rundown was so good.
Oh.
well, it was more of a description of how diverse he was at that time in his acting. Sophia, that he's not so much anymore, but
So
I love
what
how
you're saying
I love
is,
how I got to continue on my talk during the rebuttal.
what you're saying is that Ellen Ripley and Sarah Connor can just kiss their ass.
Right?
I don't think that they were the primary thing that drove the movie, not like the way that Uma Thurman drove Kill Bill. Sarah Connor was in a movie called The Terminator. The Terminator drove that movie, not Sarah Connor. The thing that she was after. Kill Bill is in the name, like her thing that she's doing, right? Like she is 100% front and center on the screen of the VHS box. Unlike Aliens, where like it's a game.
We have 2000s.
He does. That's what I was well, he almost said 90s when he was
I
talking.
did almost say
90s.
So I was like,
But
wait
Kill
a
Bill
minute.
was 2000 and...
Yeah, but VHS box in 2000.
There was VHS in 2000.
I know, but
I had Kill Bill on VHS in the 2000s.
But they were really starting to work their way out in the 2000s.
But I had Kill Bill.
It was still part of the 2000s.
And I guess you had them.
Yeah.
anyway.
Okay.
Spin.
Spin.
It's 4 things. Come on.
He doesn't get to go.
But I put the 90s twice.
Well done.
90s now.
So, Daddy, you get 4 minutes. Not
And the 2000s won the first one. So,
All right,
There's
Daddy.
no 80s in this. There's just 79 90s. I'm gonna have to redo that swear. Okay.
bad Corey noises.
So now it's the 90s now, and we're doing actors and actresses, please.
Oh, nice. Nice. I did have notes.
But you know, whatever.
No, I didn't yesterday.
I'm so proud of you.
I wrote my notes as prepared for 5 minutes, so I kind of blew through my notes.
Alright, it's gonna be go actors, right?
Actors and actresses.
Oh, I really should have been actresses. Last night. Alright, so my picks for the actors of the 90s were Johnny Depp, Brad Pitt, and Tom Hanks, and Morgan Freeman. And who else was there too? And hang on a minute. Let me give me a second. The movie's there too. And Robert De Niro too. There was a second. I didn't write them all down. I like the 90s. They had great actors. Johnny Depp, he had played Edward Scissorhands, Ed Wood. Everybody remembered Donnie Brasco. That was a great movie. You remember that? Good movie. Brad Pitt, I thought he was really good that year, the 90s. Oh, and don't forget, I forgot Kevin Costner. Dance with the Wolves and Postman. That was my other actor. What about him? Otherwise, I don't know. What's-
You forgot about actresses?
I totally forgot about actresses.
On the spot, quick.
On the spot? Jodie Foster, Silence of the Lamb.
Okay.
I want to say Uma Thurman, Pulp Fiction, but this jackass over here.
Oh, you doesn't matter. You can still take it.
I'm trying to remember that one female from Fargo.
Frances McDormand.
Thank you. It's a good thing we got Corey here. You remember the name?
A little encyclopedia.
Mm-hmm.
Only in years.
Hey, Danny's turn.
Danny's turn. Corey.
10 more seconds. Okay.
We can rebuttal now?
Yeah, now you can rebuttal.
What was good about them?
You're-
Just give us their names.
They were great.
You know what? Uma Thurman and Johnny Depp both had better roles in the 2000s. I'm just saying, they hit their peak in the 2000s, not the 90s.
Are you sure? Because you did really well in Edgewood.
You
That
know
was a
what?
great movie.
You guys think of Johnny Depp? What's his most iconic role?
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
That is not his most iconic.
Think of Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yes, which was 2000s.
True.
Also, he was, what was that? It was like a musical.
Oh, Sweeney
Sweeney
Todd.
Todd.
Sweeney
That
Todd.
was also the 2000s.
Yeah.
So one of your actors did his best work in the 2000s, and Uma Thurman finally came into her own in the 2000s. So,
So what, Tom Hanks?
well, I'll give you Tom Hanks, okay?
Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks is a solid 90s actor.
The
Yeah.
females in the 90s and the 80s were basically love interests though. Like you didn't really start fleshing out. There's a couple exceptions in the 80s. There's a couple exceptions, but like 80s and the 90s, 90% of the women were just like the love interests. So like that's why you struggled finding good actresses in that era.
Wait
I
until
get
I
it.
hit my turn.
Okay. Now that I fixed the wheel.
This is meant for you, Corey.
We have the 70s.
You sit there and be quiet, Corey.
All right. My bad.
Say what?
Okay. I should get the timer. There's so many things open on my phone.
Would you like a secondary phone to help with you some of these?
I have two.
No. Why do you have two?
One's for work and one's mine.
I also have two.
Yeah, I know why you have two.
It was very awkward in Grand Prairie because a lot of people looked at me like I was a drug dealer.
That was actually really friggin' hilarious.
They were like, why do you have a flip phone? And it's like, because I prefer a flip phone.
That is my primary phone, actually.
They're like, you sure that's not a burner drug phone? It's like, no, I swear to God.
I can't mess that up.
And go.
Okay, so in the 70s, we're looking at a lot of method actors coming onto the screen, coming from Broadway. So we've got Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, Gene Hackman, Gene Wilder. We've got Donald Sutherland. That's just naming a few of them. We also have Burt Reynolds, John Travolta, and then we get into females. We get Jodie Foster. We get Angelica Houston. We have Sigourney Weaver, Jane Fonda, Carrie, or like the actress from Carrie, Lorna Karpoff, whatever. Yeah, that's it. Thank you. Meryl Streep, Olivia Newton-John, and we have Barbara Streisand. So in the 70s, you're seeing all of your actors that you're claiming are the best there coming onto the screen and actually making a name for themselves. Robert De Niro and Al Pacino, just themselves, were low-time actors on Broadway until The Godfather. Plus, then we get Star Wars, which I know you I love Jeff.
I've never heard of what is it.
Dork Wars. So then we get Carrie Fisher. So, the 70s is when it all starts. The 70s is where we're going to see all of these guys being diverse. They're going into action. They're doing drama. They're doing romances. This is when our musicals start again.
Way to sell it.
In your own arguments.
Okay, the type of musicals. But then, for Corey and I, these actors are actually bringing horror back onto the screen. And the 70s is when we see female lead becoming the main character, the hero, and all of this other wonderful stuff, not just men-dominant roles.
For the record, I didn't say the 70s weren't, because I acknowledged the greatness of the actresses in the 70s, unlike the predominant role in the 80s
No,
and
but
90s.
you did say that it wasn't until the 2000s that the females actually start being on the screen.
On action roles, doing the action leads. And they,
Literally.
but that's different, right? Like, she's not the attraction of that movie. Sigourney Weaver is not the attraction of that movie. Not the way that Uma Thurman was the attraction to, like, say, Kill Bill. Not to keep going to that one.
At all.
Huh?
I don't find it Thurman to be an attraction at all.
And the actresses in the 70s are so good that you can't
You
even
also
remember
get
their names.
to start seeing Drew Barrymore in the 70s.
Her first film was E.T. in 83.
Because her name
Yep.
is on a lot of things and spot things in the 70s.
Her first role was 83 in E.T.
That's true.
Yeah.
I feel that is correct, but I would need to Google it.
Yeah.
Done.
You're a Google machine, so.
Because, yeah, how old was she? Was like 8
Yeah, both there.
in E.T.?
Yeah. And then Firestarter was like a couple years later.
Yeah.
Yeah. Drew Barrymore is about my age, so she wasn't even alive in the 70s. She might be 79. Maybe 79, because she's not much older than me.
Her first role was age 5 in Altered States.
What time was
Which
that?
was actually filmed in 79 and put out in 80.
So her first film was an 80 film, eh?
That's what it's saying.
Yeah. Okay.
Even though it had her name in the 70s while I was looking at it.
That'll happen. Corey.
All right.
The 80s.
All right.
Okay.
You're not gonna spin the wheel?
Spin them.
I still don't win.
It's the 90s.
Him. Again.
Okay. It is the 80s. You got 2 minutes.
All right, come on. Come on. The 80s were the greatest. Now, actors. Bill Murray. To this day, everybody knows Bill Murray, but everybody also knows his prime was the 80s. Dan Aykroyd. Molly Ringwald. So you're talking about not many strong females. It wasn't an action, so yeah, that's right, you said action. But Molly Ringwald was the face of the 80s for the females, I think, because of John Hughes. Jack Nicholson, yeah, he did some stuff in the 70s, but dude, Batman, Witches of Eastwick, like, I wrote down a couple of the movies these guys did, like Bill Murray, Ghostbusters, Groundhog Day, Scrooged, Caddyshack, Dan Aykroyd, Ghostbusters, Spies Like Us, Nothing to Lose, which was, he was hilarious in that, Blues Brothers, like, everybody knows Blues Brothers, Molly Ringwald, Pretty in Pink, 16 Candles, Breakfast Club, Jack Nicholson, Shining, Batman, yeah, Shining, Witches of Eastwick.
You have the wrong decades in some of those.
I don't, actually.
It's not your 2 minutes.
Michael Douglas had Wall Street, Fatal Attraction, Julian Allen, Romancing the Stone. And then get someone like Mel Gibson, Lethal Weapon, Mad Max, Tom Cruise, you had Legend, you had Cocktail, Outsiders, Top Gun, Rain Man. Like, all these movies, to this day, people know of and talk about. Not many other decades are there people that have that luxury in. Like, a lot of the new actors, people are like, you know, they'll be forgettable. But, like, everybody talks about the 80s. The 80s were the time for memory and nostalgia. That's all I have to say about that.
You have 20 seconds left.
Oh, well. I know what I can do in 20 seconds. Anyway,
Corey, again.
poor Danielle. She's not used to my humor. I'm usually laid back around her. So.
This is not going to help at all, and I'm sorry, Danielle. We talked about this. We don't want cheap. No cheap pleasure, Corey.
All right, so charge me more next time.
I know how this happens.
You see what? Anyway.
So
We don't know.
I hate to fact check you, but I'm almost 100% confident that Groundhog Day was the 90s, was it not?
I want to say it was the 80s.
90s.
I want to say like 91, 92.
Well,
It was like 89.
No, it was
I
the
thought it was
90s.
89 too. So
We just did that last
Yeah.
week, so we should have known.
go.
And The Shining, was that 79 or
It was
80?
80.
Was 80? Okay.
93 for Groundhog Day.
Really?
Man, it was like 3 years removed.
Now, regardless.
And there was
Ghostbusters, Scrooge, and Caddyshack then.
and there was a Bill Murray movie that wasn't a Bill Murray movie that you said, but that's okay.
Caddyshack?
Blues Brothers.
That was under Dan Aykroyd.
Oh, was that under Dan Aykroyd?
Yeah.
Okay. No. Not to fact check you and your things, but accuracy is important.
It is important.
Yeah.
So,
Anyway.
Yeah.
I just realized I left a bunch of comedians and some serious actors off my list. That sucks. My 2 minutes is up.
You can put it under your overall.
I'll put it. They're going under my overall. That's for sure.
You can add it to your
I
overall.
think we should get 5 minutes for our overall.
Yeah, 5 minutes for the overall. I feel like that
Mhm.
is fair.
So yeah, wow. There's sure not a lot of rebuttals. I think I might be onto something.
Listen.
So-
Molly Ringwald is your go-to for the amazing woman actress of that time.
But you know what?
Sarah Connor,
I do have to
Ellen
give
Ripley,
Those
Carrie
are characters, not
Carrie
actors.
Fisher.
I
Oh.
had Ellen Ripley and Carrie Fisher first, so
Yeah, we are just.
What?
There's a whole bunch of remakes being done of 80s movies or continuations.
Because they know the story was so good.
Top Gun, Maverick.
We're talking about actors and actresses, and you guys just listed characters instead of actors and actresses.
Sigourney Weaver was Ellen Ripley.
Yes.
Linda Hamilton.
So you guys remember her for them for one role. That doesn't sound like an amazing. Oh my God, they're so amazing. Look at all this work they've done. No, they've got one iconic role. That's a
doesn't
sign of
mean
a
all their work.
one-dimensional actor.
That doesn't mean all the work they did. It means they were good in the roles they did in that decade.
If you're identifying them with just one single role, then that's probably not a sign of a great actor or actress, though, is it?
That's because their career spanned past the decade.
It also depends on the type of movies that you enjoy watching.
Mhm.
And
yeah, Jeff.
Right? And I will give Corey this, he at least gets the Brat Pack.
Yeah, he does get the Brat Pack. For better or for worse.
not the Rat Pack. That was the 60s.
Daddy gets a Brat Pack for a little bit of time with the Young Guns.
A
Yeah.
little bit, yeah.
Emilio!
That's fun.
And the guy from Mighty Ducks? Yeah.
Yep.
It's so long. Oh my goodness.
Oh.
Okay, now we're on to soundtrack.
Oh, do you want to give your score for that
We'll
one?
get into the
No.
very end.
Hmm?
We'll get into the very end.
Okay, we'll get at the very end.
Suspense.
Soundtrack. Well, I'm just going to sit back and bathe in my glory. Corey can start.
Yes. Yeah.
First up. The 70s.
For fuck's sakes, okay. All right.
Just give me a second. I get the timer. And go.
Okay, so for soundtracks in the 70s, because we're moving away from a lot of the traditional sound at that time and we're actually moving into Dolby, we're starting to see soundtracks primarily from Grease, Clockwork Orange, Saturday Night Fever, American Graffiti, Godfather, Star Wars, Rocky Horror Picture Show. We get Meatloaf. Chinatown, Cabaret, Halloween, Rocky, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, and Alien. All of them at that time, because we're starting to use a lot of orchestra along with Adobe, we're getting better soundtrack, better music. It's also starting to build suspense with the soundtracks. So again, the 70s is what starts it all. There's not a whole lot you can say about soundtracks.
Well, there's a lot. I spend most of my time listening to movie soundtracks.
Yeah, I get tired of them after a while, and I'm a horror fanatic, so. That's it.
I don't know if I considered this misread or not, but I just did song soundtracks. But yes, we had some good.
Those ones are actually the soundtracks directly from those movies. Those ones are ranked the top ones for the 70s.
I would, I've got hard to argue with stuff like, the atmosphere that was created in the 70s. In all honesty, like you're right. That is where it all kicked off, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
And no one wants to argue with Laura about this. It's you guys. You got to make it better. You got to
See,
We're arguing.
your talks about the scores were accurate, 100%. But the soundtracks, yes, you had a couple in there, but
soundtrack and scores are the same thing, Corey.
Okay, you get to watch Tim Curry run around and drink, okay? While dancing to Meatloaf.
Rocky Horror Picture Show does hold up as one of the greatest soundtracks of all time.
I went to go see the Rocky Horror Picture Show in Edmonton not too long ago. It was super fantastic.
Did they have the outfits and everything like that and throw the pizza on stage?
We weren't allowed to throw things on. Actually, I was working, so we weren't allowed to throw things at the actors.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone got a little goodie bag of various things that they could pull out, and as I was handing out the goodie bags, I was like, "You must be respectful of the people around you. Please don't throw things at the actors, but have fun." And there was things thrown on stage, but
we need to enforce the rules.
I told them I did my job. It's not my fault that people are passionate about it.
Oh, and when it comes to Rocky Horror Picture Show, yeah, they are very passionate.
Actually, someone got mad that we didn't have toast in the bags.
Okay, but I understand. I remember helping dress my brother up in drag to go to the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
And it was shocking to see the age range of people going to the Rocky Horror Picture Show. There was this very cute little old lady, pearls and all. Very she takes her goodie bag so primly, and I'm just like, this is not where I expected you to be. And then right behind her is someone dressed in drag. I was like, this is the greatest day of my life.
Okay, who are we on to next?
Okay. I guess I could have spun that when I was reminiscing. We have the 80s.
Woo!
All right, do I need to say anything, or is it just a given? Let's be honest.
You need to defend yourself, because if you don't defend yourself, I could give you a bad score.
Oh, well, Jesus, settle down, power queen.
You told me I had to be unbiased, so if you're not going to defend it, I don't know.
All right. Some of the greatest soundtracks. The Breakfast Club has an amazing soundtrack. Don't You Forget About Me is still an iconic song. Top Gun has an iconic soundtrack. Danger Zone is still an iconic song. Footloose is an iconic soundtrack, with Footloose being the song. Dirty Dancing is an iconic soundtrack, and I don't even have to narrow that to one song. Time of Your Life is obviously the popular one. She's Like the Wind, done by Patrick Swayze himself. Rocky III brought us Eye of the Tiger. That song was actually made for Rocky III, so everybody knows that song. Back to the Future, Power of Love. Ghostbusters. Every single major 80s classic movie, I mean, lack of better words, had a soundtrack that followed. And the thing with the 80s is it was a time when soundtracks ruled the airwaves. Everybody thought of music and they thought of movies when they thought of the 80s, because there was so much crap going on in the 80s that they distracted you with that. But that's besides the point. The 80s soundtrack is the quintessential soundtrack. That's all I got.
You still have 30 seconds to defend yourself.
No, I'm confident in my answer.
You know what? The 80s maybe have like good soundtracks, but you know, the scores to the whole thing, and it sounds like a lot of these soundtracks are just one-hit wonders, you know, like, oh, you got one good song.
Tiger was so not a one-hit wonder.
Name another Survivor song.
I don't care. That's the only good one.
But that's what the definition of a one-hit wonder is.
But we're not talking about the bands. We're talking about the soundtrack for the movie.
But I'm saying the soundtracks have like one good songs in them in the 80s.
Doesn't matter.
Like sure, it's maybe like an incredibly good song, but a soundtrack should be all throughout the movie, right? It should be like a continuous thing. Sure, you can have like one great, amazing song on there, but that doesn't make it a good soundtrack, does it? Having one incredible song?
Why doesn't it?
Really depends on what you're looking for, right?
If you want like a movie score and a soundtrack to a movie, you want the music to be good the whole way through, not just bits and pieces of the movie to be amazing.
I don't know, because like I said, they may be one songs in most cases, but they're iconic songs, thus making them iconic soundtracks, thus the topic at hand.
I had to find some hole in your armor, and that was the hole in the armor. Because I know soundtracks from the 80s rely on that one really big song, and that was their downfall.
They had some scores, but most of their scores, I will admit, were derivative off of a series that started in the 70s. Like Star Wars, like Indiana Jones, like Superman, like all these things. Yes, they started in the 70s, but they were still making movies in the 80s, and those scores were still iconic in the 80s.
Fair. Cool.
This is
Next.
scores. There's so many big feelings about the soundtrack.
Probably giving us like time to debate and stuff like that's probably bad because I love debating. I'm sure my
You do?
So I like to pick holes in arguments and stuff like that, and like try to find stuff like that.
And there's a few people out there in this world that turns out don't like that.
I'm actually quite shocked I have any friends or family left. I really am.
What does it say about me when you're like one of my best friends?
That's because you don't like to argue.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't.
Yeah.
It's usually because I'm right, so I don't need to.
Oh my God, here we go on that again.
Except for obviously the 80s soundtracks, because they're kind of like the one-hit wonder of the soundtrack world.
In my opinion, there's only one decade that had beginning to end great soundtracks, but I'm not going to concede to it. So
Because that's not your decade.
exactly. So
So our next decade is the 90s.
Ooh, we're going 70s, 80s, 90s.
thank you, spinny wheel.
Random and it's just not happening. Okay, 90s, please.
Soundtrack. Boys in the Hood, Lion King, Toy Story, Beauty and the Beast. Yeah. Ooh, I think Aladdin's under there. I want to say Wayne's World, right?
Mm-hmm.
Pulp Fiction was in there. The Crow was in there.
Now you know what I conceded to. The Crow is the greatest soundtrack of all time.
Oh,
Sadly, even I might have to concede on that.
I know the 90s had great soundtracks everywhere. You know, a lot of people don't say it, but Titanic was in there too. Well, only one song, I guess.
Boy, thing in the end, spoiler.
Yeah.
And Jack totally could have fit on that damn door.
No, he couldn't.
He could. We'll put that later.
there's a lot of fan theories.
Hey, 5 minutes.
Anyways, hey.
2 minutes, whatever it is.
Sorry.
A minute left.
Here goes the minute.
Robin Hood.
Oh.
That's what you're gonna say.
That's all I can say. I'm good. I just started trying to do some more, but not.
Okay, yeah, I feel that. That's a pretty solid list of solid.
Yeah.
You know what? He had Corey and I at the Crow, and then you had to throw in Robin Hood.
I can only think of 2 songs in the Robin Hood soundtrack, so whatever.
Here's the thing about the 90s, though. They relied too heavily on the pop music, unlike with the 70s that had the scores coming in through the thing. And yes, some of
Side so I can hit you.
some of those
Wait, I'm supposed to moderate.
some of those soundtracks are iconic with a lot of good music, unlike the 80s that are one-hit wonders.
The Crow was not pop music.
No,
Not at all.
That was magic.
but also there is some terrible soundtracks from the 90s as well, and some bad scores as well. Like that's when the score kind of dropped off the planet, right?
But don't you and Corey sing one of the songs from The Lion King?
Can you feel the love tonight?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hakuna Matata. What a wonderful phrase.
Hakuna Matata. Ain't no person. Look, this is not helping our argument against the 90s. You're supposed to be arguing against the 90s.
I mean, 90s suck. I will gladly take second place.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, now we have the 2000s.
Now let's hear from you.
So, for me, the 2000s may be the last decade of iconic original scores. Sure, the 80s and the 90s had some legendary soundtracks, and the 70s had the scores to this day that live on. But the 2000s are no lightweights, with instantly recognizable themes from such heavy-hitting movies like Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings, where you instantly see scenes from those movies, right? Or like the incredibly fun Pirates of the Caribbean theme. Oh my God, you can just feel swashbuckling with Johnny Depp, Jack Sparrow around, just hearing that theme in your head. But they also had their fair share of iconic soundtracks, like the 80s and the 90s did. So it was kind of the best of both worlds. Like the Transformers soundtrack was pretty legendary. Coyote Ugly had a really, really popular soundtrack at the time. Iron Man bringing back AC/DC into the forefront of popular culture. Oh Brother, Where Art Thou is like such a good country like throwback album. Like Man of Constant Sorrow is an earworm. Then they've even got like the industrial music, like the XXX soundtrack. They've got rap, 8 Mile. Like it just had such a huge variety of music that wasn't seen anywhere else, right? Like you just didn't have this high a level all across the board on any other decade. Like, yeah, sure, the 90s had some great soundtracks. Yeah, sure, the 80s had some great pop songs. Yeah, sure, the 70s had some amazing scores. The 2000s had all of those things combined.
So not seen anywhere except on stage.
What's not seen anywhere?
AC/DC coming back. You're saying coming back and being really known into the movies?
In the popular culture because of Iron Man.
They've never really talked.
Right?
No, by 2008, they had left the popular culture, and then they came back with a big boon again. Like they were still big in the 90s.
Big Gun on Last Action Hero.
That was the 90s.
I know, I'm just saying.
Yeah, I'm talking the 2000s. The 2000s, late 2000s, they had started to drop off again. Like, like 2003, 2004, they had started getting out of the popular view, and then Iron Man, with that soundtrack, catapulted them back into the popular culture.
Also, Danny, I'm very disappointed in you.
I missed one, didn't I?
Spawn.
That's right. I missed that.
I'm glad he didn't mention the Matrix.
That was 99.
That was down.
That was 99, yeah. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
I missed that one too.
The issues
Well, I was
with
trying to think about.
the issues with your guys' decades though is that you guys just don't have such a good overall like the 2000s did.
Really?
You have a good overall in the 70s when you're launching it for everybody else.
Like the 70s was an excellent introduction to wrapping it all together.
And it was perfected in the 2000s.
If it wasn't for the 70s.
Name a better score to a movie than the Lord of the Rings score.
Superman.
I disagree with that.
Which was also Gladiator.
78. Yeah.
Or-
Yeah.
Gladiator was a 2000. That was an amazing score.
Yeah.
Like, you know, they
Star Wars, Indiana Jones, anything John Williams.
You know what? Some of the best Star Wars
actually-
movies came out in the 2000s. though.
Smokey and the Bandit.
Love all the soundtracks from John Williams.
Yeah, John Williams is the most iconic composer of all time, and he was not in the 2000s.
John Williams was in the 2000s.
I mean, he was, but he wasn't known for the 2000s.
Howard Shore scored a lot.
And Zimmer.
Hans Zimmer.
Zimmer.
Hans Zimmer's amazing in the 2000s.
Yeah. Like, yeah.
There were some amazing composers in that time. So this would be our first ever 2-part episode, guys. This thing's gonna be so big, we're gonna split it up into 2 parts. Yeah, so right here we're gonna cut it off, and then next week we're gonna talk about special effects, movies, and overall. Good night.
Wait, just before we go, what's the answer to the meaning of life?
42, of course.